In 2006, James Bond was on life support. Die Another Day had pushed the franchise into invisible cars, CGI madness, and self-parody. Pierce Brosnan was out. Audiences were drifting away. For the first time in decades, people were asking, was James Bond finished? Then came Casino Royale. It didn't just reboot Bond, it reinvented him. It became the highest-grossing Bond film ever at the time, earning over $616 million worldwide, and completely reshaped what a Bond movie could be. This is the story of how Casino Royale saved 007. When Daniel Craig was announced as Bond in 2005, the backlash was brutal. Too blonde, too rough, not handsome enough. One tabloid headline read, "James Bland." Fans wanted another smooth, charming aristocrat. What they got was something else entirely. The producers understood something the critics didn't. The world had changed. Post 9/11 audiences didn't want a cartoon spy with gadgets. They wanted realism, they wanted grit. Craig brought something no Bond had fully embodied before. Physical danger. From the black and white opening sequence where he earns his 00 status, this Bond isn't polished. He's a blunt instrument. But here's what made Craig revolutionary. He was vulnerable. The shower scene with Vesper, where Bond sits fully clothed, shaken, shows a human being under the tuxedo. That emotional crack made everything that followed believable. For the first time, Bond felt mortal. Gone were the era of invisible cars, space lasers, and cartoon villains. Instead, what we got in this new Bond was a brutal parkour chase, hand-to-hand combat, and real stunts. The Madagascar chase alone signaled a new era. No witty one-liners, no gadgets saving the day, just sweat, pain, and determination. The filmmakers removed the franchise's safety net. Without spectacle to hide behind, the story had to stand out on its own, and that forced something radical for Bond, character-driven storytelling. Ava Green's Vesper Lynd wasn't just another Bond girl, she was the emotional center of the film. From their first train conversation where she dissects Bond psychologically, it's clear, she's his equal, intelligent, strategic, guarded. And for the first time, Bond falls completely. When he tells her, "I have no armor left, you've stripped it from me,"
I have no armor left. You stripped it from me.
that isn't flirtation, that's transformation. Her betrayal doesn't just end the film, it creates the Bond we recognize later, emotionally closed off, detached, professional above all else. Casino Royale didn't just reboot Bond, it explained him. The boldest decision? Making the climax a poker game, and somehow making it more suspenseful than any explosion. The Texas Hold'em sequences are psychological warfare. Each hand represents power, control, and ego. When Bond loses everything and has to be bailed out by Felix Leiter, we see something new, failure. Previous Bonds rarely failed like this. Le Chiffre isn't a world-dominating mastermind. He's a desperate financier in over his head. That grounded threat makes him more believable and scarier than any space laser villain. What truly elevates Casino Royale is structure. It's Bond's origin story. We watch him earn his license to kill, his confidence, and his emotional armor. That iconic line, Bond, James Bond, isn't thrown away casually. It's earned.
The name's Bond. James Bond.
By the time he says it, he's not the reckless assassin from the opening. He's been shaped by betrayal, violence, and loss. The myth is born from trauma. The secret wasn't bigger action, it was risk. The producers respected Bond's core, the elegance, the danger, the sophistication, but stripped away decades of self-parody. They didn't change Bond because the old version failed. They changed him because the world evolved. And in doing so, they created a template for modern reboots. You can see Casino Royale's DNA in The Dark Knight, Mission Impossible's later entries, and even modern action thrillers that prioritize realism over spectacle. It proved something powerful. Sometimes the boldest move isn't escalation, it's restraint. Casino Royale didn't just revive James Bond, it made him relevant again. It turned a relic of the Cold War into a modern action icon, and it did it by doing something radical, going back to the basics. So here's the question, was Casino Royale the greatest Bond film ever made, or just the most important? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into cinema's greatest reinventions, don't forget to subscribe, because sometimes the best stories are the ones about survival.